Rudnik. What? Are you being a good boy? Not getting into any trouble? Hi. Why are you standing out in the rain? You know you have a stall, right? Hi. You can take little bites, you know. I think we're going to do a little bit of riding today. Just a little bit, though. Back up. Let's see how wet you are. Boy. You're still shedding lots. You've got so much hair to shed. I don't know how you're not bald. So because Rudnik has been more on a rationed hay diet now, he's definitely dropped quite a bit of weight. So we're happy with where he's at right now, because over the summer we will be building on some more muscle. Right now we're just figuring out his exact hay quantity that he needs in a day to maintain, maybe put a couple pounds back on. It's quite normal for them to come out of the winter a little bit more underweight. But that's why we usually want them to be a bit heavier going into the winter, so that we have that extra weight to fluctuate with. You're definitely in better shape right now than you were last spring, though. Last spring, we went into the year at 1,300 pounds, which was dangerously high. So, and because he's such an easy keeper, it really doesn't take long for him to put on weight. Look at all that fur. I think I'm going to have more hair on me than you by the time I leave. But we definitely don't want him losing any more weight. The ideal is usually about 25 pounds a day of hay, but because he is a bit on the bigger side, like height-wise, we're probably going to be having him around 30 pounds a day, just to make sure he doesn't lose any more weight than he has. We're just not used to seeing figure and definition. And now with the warmer weather, they're going to start going out on pasture too, so he'll be able to pack on some weight pretty good that way. Setup here requires him to be a bit more active than in previous boarding locations because we've got so many hills. So he's definitely getting a bit of a workout every day as well. This is pretty much exactly why you want them on the heavier side going into the winter, because if you had a horse that, say, went into the winter already looking like this, like in an ideal shape or body condition, then you're going to come out quite underweight and you're going to need to do a lot of work to get that weight back up. But because they need to have the extra fat to burn through the winter to stay warm, you want that extra like 50 pounds on them. So there was a couple years ago, or more than a couple now, I guess, where Rudnik actually came out quite a bit thinner than this. So I had to give him some grain and stuff to get him to beef up a bit, but knowing what I know now, how quickly he does gain weight, I'm just, once he's on the pasture, I should say now that he's on the pasture, he'll be putting that 10-15 pounds back on in no time. Right? It's a difference not having to worry about you being obese in the spring. And also too, he turns 7 next month, so he will be getting into more of his adult frame as well, which could account for some of the sudden visibility of the withers and stuff like that. I feel like I could just stand here brushing you all day and it would just keep coming. We'll do your feet. Can I have a foot, please? Even my pants are all dirty already. We went from rain to sun to cloud, and now I'm overheating. I know, I would do your mane, except your whole bottle of mane detangler spilled in my car. So I have very shiny car mats now. On an ideal body score on a horse, you want to be able to feel ribs. You don't necessarily want to be able to see them, but that's why I say he probably needs to gain about 10 pounds right now. But you want to be able to feel them. And so this is actually the first time in probably a couple years where I've actually been able to feel his ribs. So it's definitely better than having to lose 150 pounds like last year. I've found a lot of people, even when he's at his ideal body score, a lot of people will tell me how fat and overweight and out of shape he is. But I think they forget that he's a quarter horse. Quarter horses are naturally stockier, thicker builds. They're not lean like an Arabian or a thoroughbred. So even when he's at his like 100% absolute perfect body score, he still gets called fat and overweight, which isn't fair, is it? You're like me, you're thicker. You got those hips and that booty. Eye boogies. You can have that back. You look very chill today. Very calm. Should we do a little bit of riding today? I feel like while you're in a good mood, we might as well. And the rain's holding off, so. Good boy. We've been doing quite a bit of groundwork lately, so I might not need to do much of it before I get on him. We'll see. Sometimes it's good too to just warm up their joints before you're getting on them. What do you hear? I hear it too. There you go. Good boy. Good boy. You got lots of bird poop on your halter though. I guess I gotta cover them in there. We've gotten a lot of new followers too since I was last riding, and so we've been asked this a few times on our recent video, but yes, we do ride bitless 100% of the time. I do own I think they're called a Happy Mouth bit. They're basically either like a plastic or a rubber, just in case I did need it, but at this point, we're just pretty much all we ever need to use is bitless. He just responds so much better to it, and he has ever since I switched him to bitless. And we did have his teeth done a couple years ago, and they get regularly checked, so I know that it wasn't an issue of his teeth bugging him with the bit. I know it's coming, but seeing as how he basically just pops his head right into this for me, you can tell that he definitely likes it a lot better than a bit. Okay. That's okay. We like bitless too. Then at least I don't feel bad for anything on your mouth if anything happens. You look so sharp in your dressage saddle. I'm also not used to having to do up your girth so high. Hi. What are you doing? Excited to go for a little ride? Hopefully the rain holds off a bit longer. And once you're done, you can have all the carrots you want. It's pretty warm right now. I don't think I needed this sweater. And we just had our feet done last week, so we should be nice and steady for our ride today. What are you looking at? So you still got it. Yep. Yep. It's okay. We just got to work at it over the summer. We got all year now. What? I know you don't like having to work. Well, let's hope those black clouds skip over us. Yeah, those ones. Boy. She responds really well to bitless too. This is why I'm glad that we can stick with it. Because it's not very often I need to yank on his mouth, but like every now and then it does happen by mistake. So at least I know that I'm not yanking on something metal inside of his mouth. Oh, that's chilly. Boy, it's okay. I know I'm out of shape too. Yeah, I know. You're not the only one. Look at the girls. They're so impressed. One of these days we'll get out on the trail again. I know that's more fun than the arena for you. Yeah, I can feel a little bit of rain, but I don't think it should last long. No, you want to go up there? Don't go up there right now. It's not your day. I will give you some hay before I go though, okay? At least give you somewhat of a snack. Yeah. I know. You were so overweight before. We had to put you on a diet. You were like rotund Rudy. I know the girls like them dad bods, but you gotta have some like shape to it. Let's do a couple laps of trotting and then we're done, right? Yeah. No, you gotta keep going. What is that? You're such a drama queen. I guess that's good enough for now. I guess that's good enough for now. I got some carrots at the barn for you, okay? Let's go get some treats. You did a good job. You behaved. You were very good. I'll give you some hay before I leave too. I got lots of carrots for you, don't worry. Because I rode until basically 9 months pregnant, in September I ended up ordering some maternity riding breeches. I very much still needed the grip on my pants, and with me becoming slightly more unsteady, they were just going to work better for me than what I was using. It ended up taking till almost end of October, I think, until I actually got them. So by that point, I had a chance to wear them once before I was done riding because of the winter. Things were just too icy, too cold. However, I'd gotten some people in the comments telling me that I was going to want them for after baby was born, and I mean, they weren't wrong. These are probably the most comfortable pair of riding breeches I own now. They give me that support in my core where it feels like it's jello. I'm definitely not complaining about having them now. And let's be honest, by the time I was ready to pop, I gained almost 100 pounds. These weren't gonna fit me anyways. I really didn't crop until about 7 months. And the last month I was gaining almost 10 pounds a day. That was pretty much all water weight. So it came on fast. And there was no way I was gonna be putting that much weight on this poor guy's back. I definitely rode as much as I could for like the first 9 months. I say 9 months because I was due like the first week of January, and I rode pretty much right up until the end of November. So there was only like 1 month when I didn't ride, which was fine because the ground was ice anyways. There was no way I would have been able to ride even if I hadn't been pregnant. I always give him a good brushing after I've ridden too, just to kind of make sure that there's nothing I missed. Make sure all the hairs set down properly. You don't have any funny mohawks going on. Ooh, you smell like wet dog. And I always clean his feet after we ride too, because you never know what they might have gotten or picked up in their feet. Little pebble right there. And if you leave that in there, it could cause some damage and at least be very uncomfortable. And I know I definitely don't like walking around with rocks in my shoes, so. Yeah, so we're gonna work on putting about 10 pounds back on him. Once you're on the pasture more often, it'll come easy. And I need to get you some more detangler because your mane is a disaster. Let's go. Be right back. We didn't really do a whole lot today, but getting out here is kind of the point right now. We're still working on building up his stamina, building up my stamina, building up my core strength, my thigh strength, my leg strength, all the strength. One day at a time, one ride at a time. Right, buddy? Are you gonna behave? Eat your snack. I'll see you next time, okay? He's like, I don't care. Thanks for the food, bye. He's definitely looking a lot better this year than he has most years. Like I said, he probably needs to put on about 10 pounds, but we always get so many comments of people telling me he's overweight, obese, he's gonna founder. He's a quarter horse, he needs to be a little on the chunky side. Get about 10, 15 pounds on him and he'll be good. Right, buddy? You still look good though.